Welcome to the Liquidity Event, a show about all things personal finance with a laser focus on taxes, financial independence, and equity compensation. Hosted by AJ and Shane of Brooklyn FI, each episode will focus on a personal finance topic, some driven by news headlines and sometimes driven by listener questions. And sometimes you'll just get two money nerds rambling about what they think is interesting. Just a quick note before we get started, this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered tax or investment advice.
Hello, and welcome to the Liquidity Event. I'm your host, AJ Ayers.
And I'm Caitlin Fastigi.
And this is episode 174, being recorded on January 28th, airing January 29th. And you can always email us your finance questions at liquidityevent@brooklynfi.com, and we will answer them live on the air. Good morning, Caitlin. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am okay. It's a little early, which we will get to. We actually have an article about early risers, in addition to private equity ruining everything, and how much it costs to have one spouse stay home and do full-time childcare. If I recall, this is your first time on the Liquidity Event.
This is my first time. I'm happy to be here.
First time, long time, right? And
Long-time listener.
what is it that you do here exactly, would you say?
I'm the director of financial planning. So not only am I a financial planner here at Brooklyn FI, but I also oversee our team of financial planners.
Yes, that is true. A fantastic team it is. You and I first met, the first time I saw your face was in the back end of the LinkedIn recruiter portal, 5 years ago? 4 years ago?
4 years ago, and then you slid into my LinkedIn DMs.
I did. I slid into your DMs. I saw Private Family Office, CPWA, which is a certified private wealth advisor for those not in the know. And I was like, who is this? I would like this person on our team. And the rest is truly history, as they say. And for those of you who, if you're a client and you happen to have the pleasure of working with Caitlin, I would like to confirm that she has the utmost integrity, because when you work for a private family office, meaning a family that's worth usually billions, you sign all kinds of documents and you really are not allowed to say who you worked for. And I have attempted to get you drunk at least 3 times to reveal who you worked for, and you every time told me that you would not. So I admire that about you, despite my best efforts.
There are people that have been in my life for over a decade that don't know, and it'll stay that way forever.
Is your husband must know?
He knows.
Okay. All right. That's it's not like Mr. and Mrs. Smith vibes.
No. He's
Anyway.
very well aware.
Speaking of your husband, let's dive into our first article, which is how much one parent needs to earn so the other can stay home in every U.S. state. You had some interesting thoughts about this as a parent of 2 very lovely boys.
Yeah, as a parent, the numbers don't seem accurate to me. I'm in New Jersey. I'm an hour outside of any city, so don't have the highest cost of living here. And this article claimed that it's about $90,000
as the
to
median.
have one parent as the income one person would need to have the other parent stay home.
Seems pretty low.
I mean, that's before taxes too. So
Right.
now we have to pay taxes. Even as a one working household, you're still paying $10,000+ in taxes between everything throughout the year. So I went back and I looked at my own spending looked at my lowest spending month during COVID. So we're not leaving the house. We're not doing anything. No childcare. We were still spending $4,000 a month.
Right. And so basically with that number, that would basically be your entire housing payment, right? Let's call it 60 grand after taxes.
That was before housing. That doesn't even include housing.
Yeah, right.
The rent on top of that.
Yeah.
You got another $2,000 of rent. You're done. You're in the hole every month.
So this is just further confirmation that what we're seeing is in this K-shaped economy is that the rich are getting richer and the middle class are slipping further closer to the poverty line, because it just is not affordable to have even a good full-time job. The cost of living is so high. And I've been to your house. It's a beautiful home, but it is not in a major metropolitan area.
No, it's very likely I'm going to get stuck behind a farm truck any day of the week. That's a common occurrence here.
Yeah. So what's the takeaway here for like client families? Like, what do we do? Do we pay for childcare? Like, what's the advice here if you're unable to have somebody stay home and take care of the kids?
It takes a lot more than we think to have a stay-at-home parent,
Yeah.
especially if we want to make sure we have savings so that we don't have that one event in our life throw us into debt, which is then just going to create an endless cycle. Um, it does a lot of times in our society right now take two family members working to have a household run. And yeah, that's going to have childcare costs, but I think in the long run, there's benefits to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about this, and our clients, this idea of, we have moved away from our parents in so many, well, you haven't. You're close to your parents. You're pretty close
Well,
to
no,
your
mine
parents.
are
Oh, right,
they're a
you're
2 hour
in
flight away.
Florida, right? Yeah, they did move
Yeah,
away. Um,
they moved from me.
we're done with this situation. But as we moved, I live across the country from my parents, and the model used to be like, the model was, yeah, you can't afford to raise children and have one parent stay home because you got to have extra help. You have to have free help, right? And free help would be grandparents, aunts, uncles, like the whole family would pitch in. But as we migrate to cities and we have to move for jobs or industries we want to work in, or industries that pay well enough to have that one income, we're losing that kind of, free childcare. Even if it's not full time with the grandparents, it's just a really great backup if if you have those two full-time working parents. So,
Because even with two people working, you need childcare and then you need your backup childcare, or you need to be able to have flexibility and work from home.
yep, exactly. Uh, we got a lot of local articles today. One kind of like big theme topic is how private equity ruins everything. And you and I were talking about this a few months ago. And you brought up this really interesting case about the local volunteer fire departments. What's going
Yeah.
on in your neck of the woods and
So
in East Hartford?
yeah, it's across the country right now where local volunteer fire departments are being squeezed. The cost of the software that they need to track their calls, the cost of a fire truck or an ambulance. And a fire truck can be $2 million
Yeah, that
now.
blew my mind.
And
I mean, it makes sense if you think about like
it,
it's a truck with like a lot of gadgets and a lot of things, but
and it's important. You need it to work.
yeah,
If it doesn't work, we have bigger problems. But you have these fire departments that are not, they're funded by donations a lot of times.
yep, yep.
Um,
You were a volunteer
and
firefighter, right?
EMT for 6 years.
Yes. Oh my
In a
God.
small town. So we had like every, meeting every month, we were trying to figure out how to afford all of this stuff. And this was 15 years ago when things were significantly cheaper. Uh,
Yeah. I mean,
and
it's just nuts. Like we had this article, where's this from? I don't even know. Oh, it's like the West Hartford. It's like a local paper, and it's talking about how, the fire chief is saying, "Hey, I've got tax dollars to spend, but 3 years ago there were dozens of companies that were providing fire trucks and parts, and now with private equity coming in and consolidating and buying up all these small businesses and bringing them together, there's only 3. So they went from 30 different suppliers to 3. So now prices have come up. I think they've doubled, is what they said in this article.
the lead time is up. It's 3 years.
Yeah.
Could you imagine needing to buy a car because something's wrong and it's going to be 3 years before it's ready?
Yeah, I mean, can we all agree as a society that like firefighters are good? This isn't like it's like, oh, a coffee shop. Like, okay, if private equity buys a coffee shop, like, okay, well maybe the coffee will get a little bit worse, but it's fine. But like, if we don't have fire trucks that work, also, I remember being I think I was 8 years old and my sister was 2, and she like fell off the bed, and everyone like freaked out. And the fire department is usually because they're the ones who can get there the fastest. So like they're not just like fighting fires in factories that are burning, like they are saving people's lives. So like let's not have private equity fuck this up. Ugh,
These are services we need.
I hate
They're
it.
not going to be making money.
Yeah.
They are going to be a loss
Yep.
for
Yeah.
most people.
Yeah. I mean, and also it negatively impacts businesses. Like if you have a storefront and there's a fire and they can't get there fast enough because their truck broke down, like your business is going to fail.
Mhm.
Oh, fucking A. All right. Anyway.
They did this to Toys R Us too,
Yeah.
is the other one we've been seeing. I mean, as a parent, there's no place for me to go buy toys aside from Amazon, Target, Walmart.
Yeah.
They don't have
So
the selection that Toys R Us used to have.
I mean, I remember the Toys R Us Like that was an event in our childhood. Like I remember going to Toys R Us with my aunt who didn't have kids, who would like basically be like, get whatever you want, you know? And I'd be like, this is literally the greatest day of my entire life. And still, I think to this day remains the greatest day of my time.
I mean, Toys R Us, I have vivid memories of walking through Toys R Us or the Toys R Us in Times Square with the giant two-story Ferris wheel.
Oh my God,
Phenomenal.
yes.
Like,
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Yeah. So there's this whole book, what's it called? What's the book called? I don't know, whatever. Megan doing a bad job.
Bad Company.
Bad Company. Thank you. Bad Company. This journalist Megan Greenwald basically centers on the story of Toys R Us and how, you know, private equity came in, stripped a lot of workers. You know, they employed what was it, 33,000 people. So like, not only did they destroy the business, they destroyed, you know, community centers, right? And then there's all these stories about private equity taking over hospitals, cutting jobs, which leads to, you know, overworked nurses and folks on the night shift and actual death. So there's pretty real consequences here. This isn't just like private equity ruined my Chipotle. You know, this is like private equity is destroying rural hospitals where, you know, essential services are needed.
Closing. They had to close one in Pennsylvania last year due to private equity. Sometimes they're selling the land out from underneath them and then having them lease the land back.
Right.
So they're putting the companies into debt and then causing them to spend more money than they needed to spend and just kind of draining them slowly until they have to close.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's like the deal, right? It's like they have a time frame, right? If you're running a business that's got thin profit margins, private equity comes in and, you know, they've got a 5 to 7 year exit. They need to make their money, need to turn around fast. So they load up these companies with debt, make a bunch of cash, sell off the assets, rent them back. And then the business, you know, if they can find another private equity firm to sell to and recap, you know, in that 5 to 7 year window, they leave, right? And what is interesting though about all this is, you know, it's like the private equity coming in, like the founders are getting a really nice payout. So this, I have a very interesting personal anecdote that happened to me this summer. The fertility clinic that I was working with in Connecticut, you know, they were super communicative. We were, you know, there's a lot of moving parts with fertility. You're moving embryos and
it's timely. It needs to be on a schedule.
It needs to be on a schedule. You cannot make mistakes. We've heard some horror stories of some misplaced embryos. And so, you know, July happens. They're very communicative. We're talking about moving embryos from Manhattan and Long Island to Connecticut and all this stuff. And then around August, the communication stops. They stop responding to my emails. I call them. No one will pick up the phone. I start talking to these people who seem like they're not in the United States anymore. And I'm like, what is going on? And it was so frustrating. And I kept calling. And, you know, it was obviously a very emotional topic. I have this hunch. I'm like, I think something happened. So I Googled the name of the fertility clinic and private equity, and lo and behold, on January 31st, the deal closed to sell this fertility company to a hold corp of this you know, multinational private equity firm. And the main doctor, you know, sold all of his shares. So he was like, I'm out. Fuck it. Like I'm sure he got a lovely price, and it, you know, destroyed the service level of this very important, vital business. And they're still not back to where they were. You know, I'm sure they, you know, got rid of their like really great expensive software and replaced it with, you know, Excel spreadsheets or what have you to save a buck or two.
They have to. They have to find anywhere they can save money.
Yeah.
And this is happening across, because this happened in my OB's office. Right around the time I had my first pregnancy, I called them and they're like, oh, by the way, we're no longer delivering at the hospital right next to us. You're going to drive 40 minutes now to the hospital because we're now owned by that group. Oh, it worked. We were fine in the end, but I'm not sure everybody's going to be in that situation.
You had the extra 40 minutes. That's great to hear.
Extra 40 minutes. We had the time, but like it's not for everybody.
Oh my God. Yeah. Anyway, that's depressing. I don't know. That's business, I guess, is sort of what I think. But I think we need some regulation about these sort of vital services like hospitals, medical care, and local fire departments. Okay, here's a fun light one after we've made ourselves very depressed. What time should you wake up? Probably not 5 a.m. What time do you wake up naturally? And what time do you have to wake up to function in your life?
Yeah, so naturally, I'm one of these late morning people. If I could sleep till 8 or 9, I would love that. that would be my natural cycle. But like if I want to do anything, and in fact, if I want to work out, I'm up at 5 in the morning. That
How
when else am I
long
gonna?
how long from like my alarm goes off to like I'm functioning and could answer like a phone call? Like what's that? How long is that? Is it like half an hour? Is it 5 minutes? Like how quickly do you gain consciousness?
It takes probably at least half an hour, and to be really functioning, it needs caffeine in that first half an hour as well.
So according to this Wall Street Journal article and this company, there are three different what are they called? Chronotypes? Chronotypes. You could be a bear, a lark, or an owl. And we can infer that owl is the night owl who sleeps in, lark is the early one, and bear, I didn't get what the bear was. So the larks are only 15% of the population. So I think so what you have, your chronotype is the most normal, right? Which is like, I need my sleep, I want to sleep in, I want to wake up past the sunrise. I'm the psycho. I'm the lark. Like my natural wake up time is like 5 and always has been my entire life, which has served me well, except that people like yourself and other members of our company who want to have like 4 p.m. Like by 4 p.m. I can't function anymore because my peak function and brain activity and creativity happens between 6 and 10 a.m. So like after lunch, I'm useless.
Where my like peak function, I'm like an 11 o'clock to 2 p.m.
Okay.
That is where I am at my peak. I'm able to get the most done.
That's okay.
Or I'm still starting to fade.
Which is great, right? That's like working out. To me, it's like I think where people get tripped up and what this article really talks about is when your natural circadian rhythms don't match up with the hours that you're required to work. So for me, it's always been like, I get all my work done, but it's before anyone else logs on. And so like by the time the 4 p.m. meetings are happening, I'm like, I can't be here. Like I gotta go. Which is a big problem when your business coach is on the West Coast and they are our business coach is an owl, and so he's up till 2 a.m. doing shit. So he's sleeping until 10 a.m. I'm waking up at 6 a.m. So basically there's like a 30-minute period around lunchtime where we can actually get functional work done.
You might as well be on opposite sides of the world, honestly.
Yeah, and that's, it's funny, like Shane, who's usually my co-host of this podcast, he and I are also total opposites. And so we've both sort of like reverted to the mean a little bit. Like I've started to get work done a little bit later, and he's sort of started to get work done a little bit earlier. But I think if he had it his way, work would start at 11 and end at 7. And if I had it my way, work would start at 7 and be over by 11. Like, let's just get all our shit done in the morning and like be done with it and get our lives. But do you use any of these like fancy gadget things like the Hatch or any of these like alarm clocks that wake you up?
I don't. I honestly, if I need to be up at 5 a.m., it's because I'm trying to work out. So I have pre-workout made from the night before.
Yeah.
I can chug that down and I'm ready to
You're
go
good to go.
within a few minutes.
So I'm such a freak that I often wake up before my alarm. So like I'll set an alarm just because just for my own anxiety protection. Like this morning, for example, I'm in Los Angeles and we started recording at 7 a.m. Pacific time. And in my hotel, the Wi-Fi was too slow for a video call. So I had to get in an Uber at 6 a.m. and drive across town to my dad's house where the Wi-Fi is strong, where I am in my dad's office. So I've regressed, folks, back into my childhood. But like my alarm was set for 5:15 and I was up at like 4:58 because like that's like my psychotic lark brain that has like trained me to wake up before shit happens.
Or I needed 2 alarms to get out of bed this morning.
Okay. And that was 10 o'clock for you. So
no,
yeah.
it was 5. I was up at 5 this morning.
Okay.
So I had a 5 and then a 5:10,
Okay.
and then I finally got up.
All right. Okay, so I have a listener question for you. Oh, wait, actually we have a live listener question that came in. So last week, before we get to our Reddit question, we talked about Botox and how it's a subscription. Basically, it's a physical product, but it's become a subscription because once you start Botox, you can't stop. I have no experience with Botox because I made a deal with the devil 3 years ago to freeze my body and face at 33. So not for me. But the listener question is, what should you tip on Botox? Is it a medical thing or is it like a nail salon thing? Thoughts?
I'm in the same boat as you. I have not ventured into it. I am preserved like many other millennials from all the chemicals we
Really?
have
Wow,
consumed.
look at us. Good for us. It's all that
But
sunscreen and those blue squirts that we drank as kids, right?
what about the tanning beds that countered the sunscreen?
Is that it? Is that what it
So
was? Or maybe it was early ultraviolet exposure at the wrong age that preserve.
it's got to be something we did. We're in good. We're good. But
Uh,
I would put it more like a nail salon or a hair
yeah,
appointment.
yeah,
That it falls into that versus medical, even though it's at a med spa.
yeah. What do you tip at the hair salon and the nail salon?
20%.
Yeah. Yep. I recently got my nails done and it was I got a gel pedicure and a gel manicure and it was $170. And the option to tip when it popped up was 25%, 30%, and 35%. And I love to tip, but I tipped I said no custom and I did my 20% because I could not stomach that.
I do try to tip my hair girl in cash
Yeah,
every time.
that's true. Yes,
Have like a
Venmo
little bit
tip.
extra.
Yeah, I mean, back to our earlier, like, how are you supposed to be a functioning working parent and not have like disgusting nails that someone would judge you for? Like, yes, one could argue that going to the nail salon or the hair salon is a, you know, non-essential expense, but as women, like, you can't show up to a meeting with like disgusting nails, which will happen if you're cooking and taking care of your family or even just like taking care of like life. Like shit happens.
My hair appointments are non-negotiable.
Yeah.
They are every 6 to 8 weeks. We are there
I mean, your hair
spending the
does look
time.
great, especially this morning. Is that Dyson? What's the curl
To the
situation?
Dyson. Got it. The air wrap. It's the only solution.
Agree. Yes, we should get a sponsorship. This was a yesterday Dyson. This is a 2-day-old Dyson. Slightly
But it's
expired.
still it lasts.
It really does. Okay. I've got a Reddit question for you since it is your first time
Yeah.
on the Liquidity Event podcast. Hey, y'all, my wife is inheriting about $1.4 million after her dad passed away during the pandemic. Da, 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 da. I'm a biomedical chemist. She's a bioengineer. We want to build a startup based on research that I did alongside a dear friend, yada, yada, yada. So basically, they can barely afford their lifestyle. They're inheriting $1.4 million. When all is said and done, we have about $1 million in investable cash, assuming we pay off the mortgage. I would like a balanced portfolio. So the question is, should they fund this startup or should they continue to invest their money? Sorry, that was a weird way of putting it. It's just a really long question. What are your thoughts? They're inheriting, 1.4 million. They probably won't pay tax on it. They have good jobs. They have this really interesting idea. How much of that inheritance is it okay to spend on a startup?
First off, let's not pay off that mortgage. It's like a 4% mortgage. So let's leave that and keep a little bit extra cash on hand to invest, but no more than 10%. Keep it under, and honestly, maybe 5% because it's a high likelihood of failure. And if we want to keep our lifestyle long term, the more we invest, the better off you're going to be.
Yep. So I think about this a lot with investment. Like, what is your future earning? If you're a biochemist, right? Like you have high, like your biggest asset is your earning potential, right? So this person is going like, I have like a long career trajectory. I have like high earning potential. I have this idea. Like even if it doesn't work out, like we're going to be okay. So even if that 1.4 million goes down the drain, like we will still be okay because we'll be able to recover. So and clients ask us this all the time, right? Like I have this idea. I understand the risks. I want to do it because I feel like I have to. So I'm with you on the like, let's keep the investment like 5 to 10% below our total net worth. Except like when it is like you starting the business from experience, like it is okay in my mind. Like if you are still able to be employed after that and you are able to save, I don't know, 2 years of living expenses, like in cash, just in case, then to me, the percentage of, risking it all goes up to like 50 from 5 personally.
I mean, that industry though is so tough.
That's true.
It is a very high rate of failure, even for successful companies.
That's true. And also they're like $1.4 million in biotech is like not going to get you. It's not like starting an RIA where it's like, all right, I need a laptop and some software, like the startup
you
costs.
need labs.
You need labs and research and
equipment.
FDA and lawyers and nonsense. So yeah, actually you're right. So basically they need to take 5% and basically spend that on a pitch deck to get investors and get a really good partner, because there's no way that you can self-fund a high research product like this.
Right.
Before we go, I have a question for you. What's like the sentiment of your clients right now? Are people feeling like we talk a lot about like the K-shaped economy and how, the upper 5% are doing great, which I would put our clients in, and then the bottom 95% is not doing great. Like, how are clients feeling right now? Are they feeling confident, scared? What's like the vibe?
Scared.
Yeah.
Definitely a little bit scared about, is there a bubble? Is it going to burst? Is there going to be a big change in my career trajectory? I work in tech. Is tech going to continue to exist in the same way that it does today?
Yeah. And what's sort of your like response as their financial advisor? Like, how do you assuage someone's fears and keep them invested? Because I'm hearing the same thing just from friends. Like, yeah, sure, I'll keep investing money in the stock market. I've been doing great for the past 10 years, but like, I've been investing. Should I stop? Because what if it all goes to zero?
We kind of take a longer look of like, okay, we have this here. Even if it drops 20%, this is what you're going to have.
Yeah.
And if we're able to keep a job to pay our bills and we're not pulling out from those investment accounts, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yes, the number may go down for a period of time. We just don't know how long. And historically, it does eventually come back up.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, I've been kind of leaning more on like, hey, let's keep investing, but maybe let's have a bigger moat. Let's have a bigger cushion, just because lifestyle costs are getting so expensive. So, the historical, personal finance textbook says 3 to 6 months living expenses. I'm personally pushing myself towards 12 to 24 months because
I have a lot of clients with 12-month cushions right now. And that's kind of their safety net. Like you need to pull from it. It's there. We don't have to pull from your investments.
Yeah. And I think I find that, when you make a recommendation to a client to keep more cash, they then are able to unlock better savings habits in the market, right? So if a client, comes to us with a $15,000 emergency fund and we're like, all right, let's put, we're going to make your investments really aggressive. And they're like, wait, I don't want to be aggressive. We're like, well, what if you had $100,000 emergency fund? Could we dial up the aggressiveness in your portfolio? And they're like, oh, yeah, no problem. So I think that's an interesting kind of shift away from, don't have too much cash. Like, actually, I sometimes think that having that cash moat makes people better investors. And especially folks, I want to say women who come to us and say, I'm not really comfortable with this volatility. Well, it's like, well, what if you just never looked at your investments, and what if you never experienced the volatility because you knew that you could care for yourself and your family for a year or 2 years or even 3 years? John, our managing partner, I think has like 3 or 5 years of cash, which is too much for the record.
Too much.
John's
But yeah, women are naturally more risk averse. Yeah. That is just ingrained in us, and you feel less like you're less risky if there's cash.
Yep.
When you see that number in your bank account, you're like, okay, we're good. I can pay my bills for however many months I need to.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a unlock, I think. And like, to me, that's like, oh, here we go. Like, I'm a financial advisor, but like, the unlock is, hey, I'm giving you permission as like a person who does this for 500 other clients. Like, I'm giving you permission to have a lot of cash. Like, despite what you've read, like, it is okay. It is not a bad financial move to have a lot of cash when you feel this uncertainty, when you have this fear. Like, yeah, stocks are off the charts. What is going on with the economy? No one can afford to live, but we have a very strong stock market. All the correlations that we're supposed to have historically like don't make sense anymore. So yeah.
At least have it in a high yield savings, so it's doing something. We're getting
Yes, please.
3-ish%.
Yes, please. Yes, folks, please check your savings account interest rate. If it's at Chase, Citi, Bank of America, who else? Any of those big banks that where
Wells
there's
Fargo.
a Wells Fargo. If there's a branch you can walk into, folks, your savings account ain't high yield. So we want to look to the online banks for that high yield savings. Oh, we always end up here, don't we? We always end up at the high yield savings account on the Liquidity Event podcast.
I mean, it's the easiest place to end up.
It truly is. Caitlin, thank you so much for guesting this week while my usual co-host is somewhere in the world. Thank you so much for listening, folks. You can email us your financial problems at liquidityevent@brooklynfi.com. And finally, Stans can leave us a review if they want to be weird about it. I will see you next week. Thanks, Caitlin.